everybody, to this week's edition of the Dude Poll. It is week 13, y'all. It is a big week because that means we are only 1 week until the all-famous Rivalry Weekend. There's a lot happening in Rivalry Weekend, but I will get to that at the end of the video. Now, before we do all that, let's look at our Dude Poll so we can figure out what we're going to be talking about. You see here, pretty much a week that I can summarize in 4 words. Calm before the storm. Not a whole lot of changes. You can see the top 5 actually stayed the exact same from last week. And overall, it's just a bunch of ticky-tack up and downs. There's not a whole lot of big moving the needle things. You can see some new teams down there at bottom, but I'll get to those in a minute. But for now, let's start with your number 6 team in the country, the Oregon Ducks. It was a nice proven win against USC. Congrats on the win. You really needed this if you wanted to go to the playoffs, and I feel like Oregon's positioned themselves, even if they do lose to a very pesky and a very interesting Washington team who wants more credit. I think they're still in the playoffs. I think they have 1 loss still. 2-loss Oregon team, I'm pretty sure, is still in the playoffs. So Oregon's basically playing with house money against a very, very interesting Washington team. This is a team that's been trying to get credit for the longest time on the national stage. This is their opportunity. Anyway, I think Oregon was be strong enough of a team to overcome all the obstacles against Washington and prepare very nicely for the playoffs, because we all know that's where they're going. Your number 9 seed in the country right now is the BYU Cougars. They are on track. They just need to win out, and they're fine. There's 1 game left, and then you have the conference championship week. That's a whole nother can of worms. I might get to that if they do win. But, nice quality win against Cincy. Let's go over that. Nice win. Boosts the resume a little bit. Prepares themselves a little more for a potential at-large conversation. And they've just positioned themselves so well. Beginning of the season, I was so low on them because I thought since Retzlaff left that there wasn't going to be a whole lot of momentum for the team, and I was dead wrong. They came out with a fiery passion, and they just torched the competition. The only struggle is against the number 5 team in the country, Texas Tech. That one's respectable. So, congrats to BYU. I'll give y'all your kudos and your props because y'all have had a great season this far. Keep up the good work. We go 1 spot down, just one quick thing. Number 10's Notre Dame, and geez, it was a belt-to-butt session with Syracuse winning 70-7. This is the type of stuff you want to see if you want to get in the playoffs if you're Notre Dame. So congrats, and just, jeez. Alright, let's go to our 14th team in the country, which is the Utah Utes, and it is, whew. It was a close game against Kansas State. Kansas State is not that good of a team, but they took them to the wire, taking a last-second drive to get to finally be able to take the win against the Wildcats. Now, you should have seen that odds probability or the win probability table from ESPN. It goes like this: Kansas State being high, Utah being low. It just kept going up, and at the very end of the game, Utah wins. It's crazy. I don't know if I'll get copyrighted if I do use that. Just spoil yourself and look at that on ESPN. There are still playoff chances, technically, for Utah. They would need 2 things to happen. They would need 1, Texas Tech specifically, has to be Texas Tech, to lose West Virginia this weekend, because BYU has the tiebreaker over Utah since BYU beat Utah in the head-to-head. Utah will go in the conference championship game, and they would need to win that game against BYU to get in the college football playoffs. Or they go the very risky route, and they kill whoever they play next week, which I don't know off the top of my head, and they make a very low odds at large run. Now, these are very small odds either way, even with the Big 12 route. So, be prepared, Utah fans. Be happy if it happens, but be expectant if it doesn't. But just good job on the season to Utah. They've been a confusing team, and I finally get my senses secured on them. And they ended up being a pretty good team until they almost lose to Kansas State. Number 16 teams where we take a little of a detour. Let's go to the G5 really quickly, where we have James Madison. Now, as it shakes, they are the team that's currently slated according to the Dude Poll to be the team to represent the G5 in the college football playoff. Now, they were real close for comfort against Wazoo, barely pulling ahead at the end there to get the win. And yes, Wazoo's actually not that bad of a team, playing very good against teams like Ole Miss, who are much better than them. And with that information, you could say, oh look, maybe James Madison isn't the best. But just the way that the Americans kind of cannibalized itself, and that North Texas and Tulane are your number one and your number two, it's left James Madison in a very good scenario. So what James Madison, quite simple, has to do, win out, do your job, and you're in the playoffs. Otherwise, I think they're out, which stinks for them, because James Madison had a great season, and I feel like they, no matter if they make the playoffs or not, I feel like this is a season they should be proud of. Their whole success story was not just Curt Cignetti. Curt left back a great program in James Madison, and they started to do some great things in the college football landscape. Let's go down 5 again to this SMU Mustangs for their introduction into the Dude Bowl, and they just murdered Louisville. Lots of murder. This must be the wrong holiday, because it's Thanksgiving. I might still be stuck on Halloween, but okay. 38-6. Geez. Louisville, that's a whole nother thing. Just fell off a cliff. Anyway, SMU, that's 2 really good wins against 2 really good teams now. And I feel like it's pretty respectable to put them in the Dude Bowl at number 21. With the way that everyone else is shaken out, I would not be surprised if SMU manages to claw their way into the playoffs. I think there is a chaos scenario where, like, Virginia loses, and all the teams like Pitt loses to Miami. Miami has 2 losses. SMU beat Miami, so they have the tiebreaker. Yada, yada, yada. SMU's in, and they win the ACC. And what do you know? It's an argument between North Texas and SMU for the 12th seed. So, I would not be shocked. They have 3 losses. They were to the Wake by 1 point, which is a good team. They're in the honorable mentions. TCU by 11. Okay, TCU is a very good team as well. And then 3 to Baylor. Baylor, not so much. But you can see here, they're all good losses to somewhat good programs. And I feel like this bolsters the resume for SMU quite a lot. It was a great season for SMU. I would not expect the playoffs whatsoever. But crazy things have happened. The number 23 seed, Georgia Tech, Rambling Wreck, and I have to say one thing. If you didn't know what that was, I wouldn't be surprised, to be honest. That was Saying It So. That was me attempting to play it on guitar. My thumb hurts now. Anyway, let's get back to the actual college football stuff. And they need to be ACC champs now, unless they beat Georgia in Wakeoma. Those are the only 2 options that they have if they want any semblance of a playoff shot. That was a bad loss to Pitt, period. They may not be in the driver's seat for the ACC title game anymore. I don't know. I need to look at these sort of things before I make ideas. But they just need to, win Georgia. That would be great. They would need to beat Georgia. Just screw your rivals over while you're struggling too. Why not? It was a good season anyway. There may still be any playoff chances. I don't know. But anyway, good job for Georgia Tech on the season. They've just been falling apart, it feels like, the past 5 weeks. Haynes King has been great. Everyone else has been wavering at best. And I don't know what the answer is for Georgia Tech. Honestly, I think this is what they need. And they probably need to go kill Georgia if they want any chance at any sort of good postseason like they wanted halfway through the season. Anyway, Georgia Tech at 23. And finally, number 25, so we find the Arizona Wildcats. A little bit of an interesting team. Very under the radar, I will say so myself. I was not shocked, personally, because I had them in my honorable mentions the past 2 or 3 weeks now. They've been a very consistent team. I believe they're 8-3 now, meaning this duel in the desert, which if you don't know, Arizona State, it's about to be very, very good. It's going to be peak college football, y'all. It's going to be crazy. Both of these teams barely in the rankings, don't have any sort of playoff chances, maybe not even any chance for the Big 12. They just want to win against each other for the shot of a really good bowl game. And I think that's awesome. That's what college football is all about. So, congrats to Arizona on the very underrated good season this year. Now that we got the main list out the way, it's time to go to our honorable mentions. And there were a lot of teams. I had like 18 teams on the slate at one point, but I had to cut it down because that's too many honorable mentions. That is a lot of honorable mentions, I will give credit. So let's start with Hawaii. Just got taken out of the rankings. Stinks for them. It was a bad loss to UNLV. I kind of jinxed it. I'm sorry. But the Rainbow Warriors are still a very good team. Speaking of UNLV, why don't we just go straight to them? Great job winning. They're 9-2 now, looking like they're probably going to win the Mountain West. Playoff chances? I don't know. Probably not. But it is pretty fun to have, a successful Mountain West team. Because that makes things a whole lot more interesting in the playoff discussion. Virginia, also, it was more like they ran out of room. I felt like Arizona was a more deserving team than Virginia. I haven't been particularly high on them whatsoever, it seems like. Because they've just been playing very close games against teams they should not be playing close against. But as time goes on, I probably need to move them up farther. Houston, stinks to lose against TCU. I almost put TCU on the list. They're still a good team. But, yeah, they've kind of fell apart the past, 3 weeks. They've been starting to, crack under the pressure. They had a chance to make the playoffs, but now they look like a 30th team or something like that. Wake Forest, another really underrated ACC team. Robbie Ashford's done a lot of great things for that program, and it tells you how much one head coach stepping down can change the program's trajectory. Iowa, it's Iowa. Pitt, good win against Georgia Tech. They've done a lot more than I thought they would this season. I knew they would be kind of that, sneaky team to watch out for, same with Georgia Tech. Turns out that Pitt's the better of the two. I guess the coach was right when he made those comments about losing by 100, but it doesn't matter. Quite frankly, that's a ridiculous statement to make. I could spiel on about that, but I won't. So, congrats to Pitt on the win. Texas, another one of those guys, just kind of there. Feel like it was disrespectful to just completely get rid of them just because of how good of a team they are, it seems like. San Diego State, life happens. Game against Hawaii happened. Came back, beat San Jose State pretty well, and, comebacks are pretty cool. Washington, annual Washington, they're just going to be there. UConn, actually just finished up their season, 9-3. Great job. Your head coach is gone, though. Let's see how you can continue to piece the season together when he's gone. You're definitely going to a good bowl game, so get prepared for that. Arizona State, they're ranked, so I feel like it's kind of disrespectful to not have a ranked team in honorable mentions at least. And with that, that's the end of the video. But wait, now, you may be saying, Bryce, what are you doing? You promised us something. And yes, I can get you what you promised. Just listen to me when I say this. I can't spoil it all. That's like, when somebody tells you the ending to a movie or a book you haven't read, that stinks for everybody. So I'm going to keep a little bit of suspense, but I will be saying, I will be creating another special edition for the Dude Bowl for these next 2 weeks specifically, the pre- and post-conference championship week. I don't know what else I can reveal without, completely spoiling the whole thing, but it should be fun, and it'll be very different compared to what I have now. That's all I can say. Let's keep the suspense a little pipeable. If y'all have any ideas on what it could be, I'm not saying you can't drop a comment down below. Cringy, I know, but anyway, just stay safe out and healthy, y'all. Do all the shenanigans stuff down in the comments, like, subscribe, and until I see you next time, I'll be out and about in the world or in the next YouTube video. Stay safe out and healthy, y'all. Happy Thanksgiving, by the way. God bless.